Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrant Bunker. Today we're going to do the top 5 Chanel perfumes for the month of October. I have a beautiful AI-generated background landscape to commemorate, perchance, the latest iteration of Chanel with their Pret-à-Porter Spring-Summer 26 collection. Coincidentally, the first one designed by Mathieu Blazy, and there was a lot of planets going around in the orbit on that runway. Check out my review of that show on my main Super Dacob channel. So we have this landscape. As you can see, we're going places. There's a city in the background, a metropolis. We are on another planet, you know? So might as well change everything. It's like a parallel universe. Where have we been all this time? We haven't really been on planet Earth, or have we? Which is the real Dacob? The one before or after? Or in between? Reality merges and blends into something completely different. At the end of the day, it's the best time for it, given that it's October after all, and Halloween is upon us. Weird things happen in October as we count down to Halloween, where that border between the realm of the living and the realm of the dead is at its thinnest. And the spirits fly into the world of the living. Maybe the living get a glimpse into the world of the dead. So I want to say the best perfume to begin that journey for me is Sycomore from Chanel. I love the Eau de Toilette, but also the Extrait. And ever since roundabout 2022, I am loving the Eau de Parfum formulation as well. This is the Eau de Parfum formulation. You can see it very faded on the back of the sticker. It does say Eau de Parfum at the back. Very hard to see. It was easier to see with the Eau de Toilettes. They had like kind of a darker print. And 2016 was the year when they switched the Eau de Toilettes to the Eau de Parfums, and they discontinued the Eau de Toilettes. I was devastated. The first formulation of the EDP, I did not like. But with time, they tweaked it. Olivier kept tweaking it, I believe, and at least from batch code 7901, batch codes are at the bottom, etched there. At least from 7XXX, it started smelling again closer to the Eau de Toilette to me. And it's still fabulous to this day, even the current formulations. Sycomore, to me, always resembles a memory of David Lynch and Twin Peaks. Underneath the sycamore trees, the song from season 2, as well as, I think, Fire Walk With Me, the movie had it in it. But sycamore trees designate usually the entrance to the Black Lodge. Now, Chanel also had its own sycamore fragrance in the 30s/40s, 1930s, 1940s. This version of Sycomore, however, originally in its eau de toilette form, created by Jacques Polge and Christopher Sheldrake, has nothing to do with the Sycomore from the 30s, except for the name. The name is the same. And it is spelled with 2 O's, Sycomore, instead of Sycamore with an A, as it would be spelled in English. So a lot of people misspell it when they talk about this perfume, but this is the French spellage, how you would spell it in French. And there is like a lilac-y violet in here, very interesting. Of course, a ton of vetiver, very wet, soily vetiver, patchouli-esque vibes, a lot of spicy woods. And it is a wet type of fragrance, but it is also warm at the same time. Not hot, but warm. And because of its symbology to Twin Peaks and the entrance to the Black Lodge, the realm of the spirits, the dead spirits and demons and a lot of different things, it's kind of, that is also where the doppelganger reside in the Black Lodge. So it's kind of like the duality of who are you? Which side of yourself do you show when you're out and about to other people? Are you wearing a mask? Is it your doppelganger? Is it your tulpa? So this planet here looks like, well, we're in a condo somewhere. Looks like planet Earth in terms of the architecture, the furniture, what resembles a human being talking to you right now. But then when you look closer, what are all these other planets? This doesn't look like planet Earth after all. Something is off. And haven't you noticed how something is terribly off in our times these past months? Something just feels like it's on another level. You wake up in the morning and you think like, oh, everything's back to normal. It was all just a dream. And then you get dressed and you turn on the news and then you go out of the house and you're like, oh, wait, hold on a minute. No, it was not a dream. The dream was what was happening before I woke up. What I thought was reality was a dream at this point, and reality is what I thought was a nightmare. Sycomore very much works as it delineates, it designates the different factions, the different sides, and it balances that duality so perfectly. It tickles out the doppelganger in me. What can I say? I love it to bits. My number two, and by the way, everything I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, not rooted in truths or facts. Everything's alleged and just my opinion. Thumb up the video, subscribe as we come to number two. Man, this is a beauty. My next perfume is the first and only fragrance for men that Coco Chanel released during her lifetime. The perfumer is not Ernest Beau and also not Jacques Polge, but the perfumer that landed right in between the two. While Coco was still alive, she only had two perfumers. The second one, well, as she was working on making perfumes for her own brand. Not the Mademoiselle fragrances, whole other story for another time. But Henri Robert was the perfumer in between Ernest Beau and Jacques Polge, and he delivered some wonderful chypres, including pour Monsieur, pour Monsieur. Eh? And this is the fragrance for men or for gentlemen. It was released in 1955. This is the Eau de Toilette concentration. You can see it here. The Eau de Toilette concentration has been discontinued in the United States, unfortunately, but you can still find the Eau de Parfum, which is more fougère than chypre. This is a chypre in the Eau de Toilette form. It's more fougère-esque in the Eau de Parfum form, but they're quite different, actually. But so you can still get the EDP in the States. The EDT as well as the EDP are both available still in Europe, both in production. Also, I love, love, love the Pour Monsieur deodorant stick, which is the only deodorant I use. And I use it every day. Man, this is good. I just need a little pick-me-up or a little fresh moment. The bergamot in here, the Sicilian bergamot, the smidge of labdanum, the ginger, and then you have oak moss. I mean, this is such a beautiful chypre, and there's a sweetness to this with a smidge of vanilla. This one ages beautifully, gets a little bit darker as it ages. Such a revitalizing, refreshing fragrance for the morning. The oak moss in here is so beautiful and kind of astringent in a way. There's a bit of bitter, there's like a bitter accord in there when in the opening. And that Sicilian bergamot is so deliciously, in Italian you would use the adjective aspro, which in English probably doesn't have a literal translation, but you could say astringent maybe in a way, but it is not a typical lemon-esque type of bitter, acidic flavor, but rather less acidic and more green bitter. And it is such a beautiful peel of the bergamot, such a beautiful density to this citrusy accord within this fragrance. It's just divine. It goes beyond clean. It's elevated, you know. It is a 50s very sophisticated, elegant barbershop perfume that transcends just the barbershop. So this one makes me feel very secure, safe, happy, very clean, sophisticated in the morning, after a shower, before going out. It's very soothing and calming for these like tumultuous times. Love it to bits. If I find a shopping link to this one, I'll post it down below. But honestly, I don't think they have it on YouTube Shopping. At least I don't think so, because it's not available in the US. So, but if I find the EDP or the deodorant, I'll post a link. Love it to bits. Thumb up the video, subscribe as we move on to the next one. Man, oh man, October and 31 Rue Cambon. This particular concentration is the Eau de Toilette, but I also love the Eau de Parfum. You can see Eau de Toilette on the back of the sticker there. What a beautiful, complex chypre this is. It is the haute couture version of a chypre, and I also inserted this one, spoiler alert, in my top 5 perfumes in general for the month of October of this year. 2025, by the way, is the year. And I talk a little bit more in depth about it in that video, so I'm not going to repeat myself too much, but there is a beautiful woven tweed-like texture in here, but a Chanel type of tweed with wool, cashmere, silk, synthetics, metallics, all sorts of threads woven together by hand to create a beautiful collage of savoir-faire and tapestries and colors and textures and feelings and moods and refractions of light. And the perfume delivers that as well. Has a smidge also of incense in there and a lot of vanilla, labdanum. It is a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Very, very underrated. It almost has a makeup-y accord in there as well. So I guess it's the Iris root, the Iris Oris accord in there as well, which gives it a powdery accord. But, you know, it always remains somewhat fresh. It never goes into that full-blown powder vibe like, let's say, Shalimar would have in the dry down. This one rather remains wet, which is such a technically beautiful accomplishment from Jacques Polge and Christopher Sheldrake. Wonderful. I love it to bits. It is so autumny. This is wonderful for fall in general, not just October. And it just makes you feel like $1,000,000, you know? It elevates the outfit, the mood, everything. I mean, when you spray this on, you feel like you're wearing haute couture, really, but in a perfume form. I wish they would have made this one as an extrait, but they never did. Not yet, at least. Here's hoping. My number 4 would be, thumb up the video, subscribe. Number 22, also a beauty. This one is great in summer as well, but I love how this one ages and turns darker. The vanilla oxidizes in there. There's a ton of vanilla, a ton of incense, and it's back again. They took it out, they brought it back in. Ylang Ylang and Tuberose. This, before Gabrielle was launched, number 22 was the main and actually only Chanel fragrance with a prominent tuberose accord. But it's a beautiful tuberose, number 22, because it was released in 1922. And you should check out my live stream rerun video dedicated to 1922. I shot that very long video live on my channel here for the 100th birthday of number 22. And you guessed it, the 100th birthday was in 2022 because the perfume came out in 1922, but the 100th birthday was in 2022. So to celebrate and commemorate the centenary, the anniversary, I shot a very long video where I talk about all the different iterations of number 22. I show some ad campaigns. We talk about the different formulations, the different concentrations, the cologne, the soap, the bath, body and bath range, the eau de parfum, the eau de toilette, the extrait. There's a lot of different ones. So, and it's a beautiful, beautiful floral, white floral, but also creamy, powdery, like tonic, ylang-ylangy, jasmine-y, tuberosy, vanilla with that beautiful incense vibe. And of course, aldehydes, aldehydes, aldehydes. All of these perfumes, all of Chanel perfumes bear the insignia DNA of aldehydes. And the dry down here is heavenly. Also, number 22 really lasts ages on my skin. Even 10, 11 hours later, the eau de parfum, I still smell it on my skin. And it, on me, at least, it dries down heavenly. One of the most beautiful dry downs on my skin of all Chanel fragrances, number 22. Oh, that tuberose with the vanilla at the end of the lifespan of this fragrance with just like hints of incense. thumb up the video, subscribe. I can't get a shopping link to this one because the Les Exclusives are like super hard to find. You got to go directly to Chanel to get those. My number 5 is number 5. Here we have the gigantic 200 milliliter bottle of the Eau de Parfum concentration. I'm really feeling the warm vibes, the patchouli and the vanilla in here, as well as the jasmine and the May rose. In particular, in the Eau de Parfum concentration for October, I've been using this one a lot every day. Oh, man, the abstraction of it. It's kind of already hinting at snow because, you know, Ernest Beau created, not the Eau de Parfum, but he created the Parfum, the Eau de Toilette, and the Eau de Cologne. And then the Eau de Parfum came in the 80s. This concentration was created by Jacques Polge, and this concentration is the closest to the extrait in terms of smell. However, it's not as sophisticated and delicate as the extrait, but nevertheless, I love it. This one is a little bit more powdery. It goes a little bit more into that orris root iris accord as it dries down. A ton of aldehydes. Ernest Beau created number 5 to smell of snow, which is kind of the snow is where he created the idea for this perfume while he was in Russia during the First World War. So he was working there in the snow and created a smell of snow, which would be number 5. And if you really dive into the smell, especially in the extrait version, as well as the Eau de Parfum, and you visualize snow as you smell this, you realize, oh my gosh, this is the smell of snow. There's a lot of more abstraction in here. Obviously, there's a lot more stories to tell. And in fact, I made, I don't know, 20, 30 videos about Chanel number 5 throughout my YouTube career. I love this to bits. Oh, man. And also, really good layered with Pour Monsieur. In fact, for Coco Chanel, Pour Monsieur was the counterpart, the male counterpart to number 5. Of course, for me, perfumes know no gender, so use whatever you like. In fact, number 5 to me is very genderless and timeless. I mean, this perfume is the epitome of abstraction. Coco didn't want a perfume that smelled of any particular flower, even though back in the times, in the days when this one came out, like floral accords and fragrances were all the rage. No, she wanted a Belle Epoque abstraction, surrealism, Salvador Dali, Pablo Picasso, Cubism. That whole concept is in this perfume. It was released in that time, and those were her friends, after all. Both Pablo as well as Salvador and Jean Cocteau. These two together. So 1921 comes out number 5, even though the Eau de Parfum comes out in the 80s. And then 1955 comes out Pour Monsieur. And Coco thought, yeah, that's all I need for men. That one perfume, one and done, because this is so beautiful and gorgeous. And in fact, it's like the pendant to this one. And they really coexist so beautifully. Layered together, they really, really work very well. I think I can find a shopping link to this one. The 200 ml is what I recommend if you love Chanel number 5 Eau de Parfum, because it's the best bang for your buck. Currently, as I'm filming this video, this one is $256 for 200 ml. Or $265. Either 265 or 256. I think it's 265 or 256. But so yeah, that would cost you like around about $130 per 100 ml, which is way better than spending $178 per 100 ml, which is what the 100 ml singularly cost. So definitely best ratio price per milliliter for the 200 ml bottle. And also I've noticed the 200 ml is the only concentration that has the same price in Europe and in America, minus the conversion rate. But what I'm trying to say here is, like, if it's $256, it's also €256. The other ones cost less in Europe than they do in America, you know, but for this bottle, for some reason, they kept it. So after the conversion rate and after taxes, if you're living in a state where you have to pay taxes, it still costs you less. After all the taxes are paid and the conversion rates are done, it still costs you less than it would cost you in Europe, which is fabulous. The other sizes might not be the case. And especially with the Les Exclusives, that's not the case. They cost a ton more in the US, like over $100 more. Oof, it's painful, painful. But this one is still good. Now, of course, if Chanel is listening, they're going to fix that. I hope they're not listening. Because I'm like, please give us at least something to rejoice about. You know what I mean? Like, at least one size where I don't feel like we're being ripped off. You know what I mean? But I love number 5 so much. It's like I can't live without it. So I'll keep buying it no matter what. That's my crux to bear in life. There you go. Those are my top 5 perfumes for the month of October. Let me know. Chanel perfumes for the month of October. Let me know your favorite Chanel perfumes down below. And subscribe, thumb up the video. And until next time, in this magical place, far, far away, I say never give up on fragrant love. Bye.